So, as I'm sure you've seen, we've filed several motions in Mr. Morris's case, and hopefully we can get through these quickly. So the first motion I'd like to address is the motion to admit Dr. Cunningham's report into evidence. Mr. Harmon, Ms. McHugh, and I have spoken, and it does not seem that they have an objection to admitting Dr. Cunningham's report in lieu of him testifying in person to all 94 pages during the shortened week, that it would be the most economical for everyone's time to allow Dr. Cunningham to testify to highlights and then to admit his report in its entirety for Your Honor's consideration.
Okay, is that correct?
That is, Your Honor, as long as we reserve the right to cross-examine.
Of course.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. That motion is granted.
Okay, and the second motion to compel Dr. Lazaro's report, Mr. Harmon has conveyed that Dr. Lazaro's report, as is filed, will be her final report, and so we no longer have to present the motion.
So you withdraw that motion?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
We just want to confirm on the record that this is in fact Dr. Lazaro's final report and that she be confined to the bounds of this report.
That's what she's told me, Judge.
Okay, very good.
All right, thank you, Your Honor. Additionally, yesterday we filed an amended, Friday, we filed an amended exhibit list, including Dr. Lazaro's interview of Mr. Morris. This has been provided to the state by those discs via the transcript and the video. We just ask that at this time we're not presenting it to the clerk, and that when it is admitted into evidence, that this be marked as confidential.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor, I will raise any objection we have as far as admitting the
Right.
evidence at the appropriate time. I just want to note for the record that we weren't given notice that this evaluation is going to be videotaped. I think I received an email the day before Dr. Lazaro's visit with Mr. Morris that the DOC had approved the introduction of the videotape equipment, and that was the first I was aware that this was going to be videotaped. Ordinarily, we have a hearing to determine whether or not it is appropriate to videotape it, because there are certain things that doctors want to do, certain
Right.
tests that they do that they don't want on videotape. I just want to get that on the record. I don't think the doctor did any of those tests that are generally of concern.
Okay.
I wasn't there at the evaluation, but I just
Why
want to get
didn't
that
you
on
all
the record.
timely notice them?
We did, Your Honor. As soon as we were made aware of when Dr. Lazaro was available to examine Mr. Morris, we did email the state in advance as they noticed, and Mr. Harmon was there present in the room while the videotape, and no objection was raised then or prior to this. This is the first we've heard of any issue from the state on this, and they were noticed prior to the evaluation that we would be recording it and had ample time to voice any concerns like that.
My recollection is I got an email the day before the evaluation. That was the first I heard of it. There was no actual notice filed, no
Right.
setting it for a hearing, anything like that.
Okay. Well, normally there does have to be an official notice. It has to be filed. You can't just send an email. But nonetheless, it doesn't appear that there was any prejudice to the state. So in the event the videotape is admitted into evidence, then it will be marked confidential. But again, I'm not ruling that it is admissible. I'm just saying that if it does come in, that it can be treated as a confidential exhibit.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. And I think Ms. Mirilakis had an issue.
Just a housekeeping matter, his Florida ID with photo needs to be kept confidential. DMV was kind of adamant about that. I admitted into evidence on August 19th as Exhibit 5. The state has no objection. I've uploaded in order to judge.
Okay.
No objection.
All right. So that retroactively will be marked as a confidential exhibit. Okay. Exhibit 5.
And one more issue, Your Honor, just on the issue of confidentiality, trying to keep them grouped together. There's going to be a jail visit video between Mr. Morris and his mother that the defense anticipates playing during the week of October 7th. For client relations and his integrity, if it would be possible to play the video just for the tape and the witness and the state to allow us to watch it as opposed to play it up on the screen for the entirety of the court, that would be appreciated if that was possible. Mr. Morris has difficulty with it being played publicly. It's a very personal conversation between him and his mother, and it's evidence of psychosis, which is used later by a doctor to make a diagnosis. And therefore, this is a confidential type nature that would go into the formulating of a psychiatric report, what have you. And we just asked for this to be played only for the court.
Well, I know, but I'm the fact finder, so how am I going to watch it?
For Your Honor, for the witness, Your Honor, and the state. Just not played for the whole gallery, not have it played up on the screen, but rather kind of turn it into, like, put a laptop, turn it around, and play it similarly to what was done with the dash cam video during trial.
State your position. deposition?
We spoke earlier, and obviously we can agree that it is confidential. There's a procedure to go by to determine whether things are confidential for purposes of public record, but I don't necessarily have any objection to the court viewing it on a screen other than the big screen.
So, that's fine as far as the procedure. Now, the media wants to get involved, then we'll address it at that time.
Yes,
right?
right. Yes,
But
right.
it doesn't appear at this point in time to meet the statutory requirements of being confidential.
That's right.
So,
And if there is any media issue with it, then we can address that further at
Okay.
that point. All right, thank you, Your Honor. One more small housekeeping matter before I address the motion to strike Dr. Gamache. Mr. Harmon and I spoke. We are going to ascertain the availability of our own expert witnesses for depositions. Mr. Harmon has provided October 2nd and October 3rd as his available dates for depositions. And I just wanted to convey to the court, Mr. Harmon, at this time that Dr. Cunningham is available October 3rd from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. And then Dr. McLean is going to be under subpoena both of those days and will be unable to be deposed. So, and I believe
what do you mean she's under subpoena both of those days?
that she's under subpoena to testify. So
Where?
I'm not sure the details.
Well, she's not going to be testifying for 2 days.
I'll find out. If
Yeah,
there's
we
any-
need to find out exactly what judge she's supposed to be in front of, the name of the case, when she's supposed to be testifying, because I'm quite certain you all can find a time over those 2 days when she's not in court testifying that she can be deposed.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so just saying that she's under subpoena for 2 days isn't going to cut it.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay? So you all continue working on that.
Dr. Nguli is available on either day, Your Honor. She has a block off for the state depositions. Dr. Wu, I notified the state already, he's on vacation with his kids those days. He'll be out in the wilderness with minimal reception, because he'll be available October 7th and 8th for depositions.
Judge, November 7th and 8th is the hearing date.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
So,
October 2nd and 3rd, he had a pre-planned vacation on it, so we visit other dates, but October 2nd and 3rd, he had a pre-planned vacation.
When's he leaving to go on vacation?
The day that he's leaving, I don't know. I just know he's going to be in Yellowstone National Park the 2nd and the 3rd.
Okay, well, we need some more information from Dr. Will, okay? As far as when he's actually leaving to go on vacation. And I need to find out exactly then when he's gonna be available, the week before, October 28th. And I know, not October, September 30th. Now, okay,
Yeah, regarding the correspondence with the state, they asked about the availability for those 2 dates. I asked my witness for those 2 dates, and told me what a pre-planned
okay.
vacation. but
Well,
I'll
that's
find out
fine.
when he's
You
leaving.
need to go back and figure out from him, find out exactly what day he's leaving, and you will need to find a date before then so that he's deposed. Again, we don't do hearings by ambush, okay? It's not what we're gonna do, so we need to figure it out. Okay, anything else?
Your Honor, we just asked for similar reports regarding Dr. Lazaro's and potentially Dr. Gamache's availability as well.
I believe I sent an email concerning Dr. Lazaro being available on, I believe it's the 8th, which he would prefer the morning time.
Okay.
It's possible.
So if Dr. Lazaro can be deposed on the 8th, why is
Did
Dr.
I say the
Gamache-
8th? I'm
Yes.
sorry.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
okay.
I'm looking at it. I meant October 2nd. It was October
Okay.
2nd and October 3rd.
Okay, I didn't see that email, no, so
Okay.
October 2nd, and what time did you say she was available?
She would prefer in the morning, 9
Morning.
o'clock.
All right, thank you, and then we will file our own notice of depositions once we have this. I just wanted to address the report.
And didn't you mention that one of your witnesses was only available from 7 to 9 a.m.?
Yes, Your
On
Honor.
October the
Cunningham.
2nd?
Yes,
Pardon me?
Yes, Your Honor, Dr. Cunningham.
Okay, so you guys may then have to just start Cunningham first and then move on to, have an early start, maybe 8 a.m. for Cunningham, and then move right into Lazaro,
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
okay?
Thank you, and
And
then
as I indicated, McLean's just gonna have to work with us, finding time,
Yes,
okay?
Your Honor. Yes, I will convey that to Dr. McLean.
Okay.
And the final motion before the court, Your Honor, is the motion to strike Dr. Gamash's testimony. Your Honor, the defense moves under Florida Rule of Criminal Procedure 3.211D, which prescribes the use of competency evaluation information and reports. And we ask that, and we ask that Dr. Gamash's report and his testimony be struck for the upcoming hearing as prohibited by this rule. Your Honor, Dr. Gamash's only role during Mr. Morris's trial at this point has been during a competency evaluation setting. Dr. Gamash's testimony now is being used by the state in post-conviction in order to rebut mitigation mental health testimony. However, the state has provided no new information to Dr. Gamash. Rather, Dr. Gamash's only independent source of information was from his competency evaluation of Mr. Morris. Now, the Florida Supreme Court in Carroll v. State found that the trial court erred in permitting a competency doctor to later testify during the penalty phase as mitigation, as that was an improper use of the competency evaluation information.
But this is a post-conviction claim. This is not a penalty phase. It's part of an initial trial, correct?
In the Carabello case?
No, Mr. Morris.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Morris, we've raised no issues of competency. There would be nothing that would make Dr. Gamash's report relevant. Rather, it is competency evaluation information being used for a different purpose, which violates Rule 3.211D. It's being now used to rebut mitigation as opposed to make a competency evaluation determination. And the Florida Supreme Court has recognized that this use outside of the competency evaluation arena is only prohibited if a door is open. Now, Your Honor, we have not raised any issues of competency. Dr. Gamash's report has not been provided to any defense experts. It's not been provided to Dr. Cunningham or Dr. McLean. We have in no way used Dr. Gamash's report, and therefore he is an inappropriate expert at this stage in the proceeding, given that his only information to rebut our expert mitigation is his competency evaluation information. Had he been maybe provided additional information by the state, okay, but the Florida Supreme Court, in viewing the Carabello issue, said that the use of that testimony later for a different purpose outside the competency evaluation arena was error. And the defense maintains that in this situation, in this circumstance, given that Dr. Gamash has been given no additional information by the state, he's only had his competency evaluation provided to him again. He's had Dr. Taylor's competency Dr. Taylor's competency evaluation provided, and then all of our expert reports. There was no independent evaluation whatsoever. Now, Dr. Lazaro has provided such independent evaluation, and so it seems as though Dr. Gamash, too, is just bolstering the testimony with a background that he's now not able to use to make a different diagnosis and determination at a different stage in the proceeding.
Okay?
Yes, Your Honor. The rule on the limited use of competency reports is not absolute. The Florida Supreme Court has noted if a defendant puts his mental health at issue, then those competency reports can come in at the court's discretion. Also, we're not introducing the competency report. The competency report was provided to us as an exhibit 42 in the post-conviction motion. I have Dr. Gamash's...
Provided to you by whom?
By
defense.
Yes, by defense.
So they gave it to you, attached it as an exhibit, but now they don't want you to use it.
Correct. And we're not using we don't want to use necessarily the competency quote-unquote report. I'm going to put that in quotes because Mr. Morris did not cooperate with Dr. Gamash. He made no statements to Dr. Gamash in order for Dr. Gamash to determine his competency. That is the crux of the rule, is to prevent incrimination.
Right.
The defendant incriminating himself and then using it later against him at trial. So we don't have that situation here. I did not attach Dr. Gamash's report to our written response because I didn't want to create more problems than necessary. Although I do have it if it would assist the court in making the determination, because we did provide Dr. Gamash with the other reports of the experts, as was noted by counsel, and he wrote a multi-page report where he challenged the opinions and processes and methods of the witnesses that counsel is going to present to support their
So
claim.
I guess the main issue is, what's it relevant to for the post-conviction claims that have been raised? What's the relevancy of
The
this?
relevance is he's rebutting Dr. Cunningham's report, his methods, his procedures.
For the mental health mitigation?
Correct, for the mental health mitigation. There's an ineffective assistance of counsel's claims, failure to raise mental health. There's some independent claims. I don't have the numbers with me before me, but there's some independent claims regarding his competency when he made the I repent for killing statement, which is what Dr. McLean is going to
Right.
testify to. So this isn't a situation where we're trying to use competence report or any statements against Mr. Morris. And frankly, the protection against incrimination isn't applicable
Right.
in post-conviction proceeding.
Your Honor, in response, again, Dr. Gamache is going to testify to all of this information based solely off of information obtained during his competency evaluation. And the defense maintains that that is an improper use of that evidence, and that the Florida Supreme Court has found that the different use of the competency information is what created the error. It's not necessarily only the confidentiality of the report. The defense agrees that the report isn't the main issue here. It is Dr. Gamache's testimony, all of his experience with this case, with Mr. Morris's mental health, all was obtained during the competency evaluation. And additionally, the report was listed by the defense out of an abundance of caution, had the Claim 5A been given an evidentiary hearing. However, none of the claims that have been granted an evidentiary hearing, Dr. Gamache nor Dr. Taylor's report will be used. Thereby, the defense has in no way already introduced this evidence.
All right. I find that Carroll is distinguishable. It's a penalty phase proceeding before a jury, which is vastly different from a post-conviction claim before the court. Vastly different. So I'm going to deny the motion to strike.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, very good. All right.
Judge, if I could just clarify real quick about Dr. Rosero. I didn't find the email. I was going to forward it. I guess I didn't. So I think I thought I had. But in any event, she's available on the 3rd at 9 o'clock.
Okay.
And she indicates she would prefer a phone deposition. I'm not sure if that's something you would be willing to.
Yeah, if you can give me a few moments to think about it, I'll email you
Sure.
on that issue later.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Just
Yeah, that
suggested
should
it
be
would
fine.
also be more cost effective to.
That's good. Thank you.
All right, are all jurors here? Yes, they are. Okay, very good. All right, I'll be back in just a moment. We'll get going.
Did you get in last night?
No, we flew back Saturday night.
Oh,
Yeah, as
okay.
soon as the funeral was over, we caught a plane back.
Okay, so you had a little.
Well, yes, except all the other household stuff that has to be done that hasn't been attended
Yeah.
to. So my mom's coming to visit today, and I told her, I said, listen, my house is a disaster. Don't judge. Like, just understand I'm barely staying afloat as far as keeping the household going.
Yeah.
And apparently when she was walking out to the garage, there was one of the bailiffs was walking out with her and said something to the effect of, were you on that big panel, that 150 panel? And she said yes, and the bailiff said, yeah, the largest jury pick I've ever done is 80 jurors. And apparently that was the extent of the conversation, but she was completely panic-stricken, that she was afraid she had violated the court order, so she called my office and let us know. I don't think there's any reason to make a bigger deal out of it. But if you want me to, I can bring her in, we can talk about it.
You know, I don't think there's any reason to make a big deal out of it. One thing that I had intended to ask the court early on in jury selection, and I spaced on it, forgot about it. When you initially talked to them about violating the court's instructions, and you talked about the severe consequences for violating it, it may be a good idea to let them know that, yes, let us know if there's anything, but that an inadvertent is not going to result in some sort of severe sanction against the jurors.
I wish them to somewhat fear me, but not to the point of sleepless nights.
Right.
Okay, that's not necessary. Okay, very good. So with that, are we both the state and the defense ready to proceed?
Judge, I don't know if Ms. Wiley is probably going to testify today, Ebony Wiley.
Okay.
Part of the state's in limine motion deals with her. I don't know if the court wishes to hear that now or...
Well, when do you anticipate calling her?
Either late this morning or early in the afternoon.
Let's do it on the next break. Let's go ahead and get started. Who's going to be your first witness?
Nick Officer Ramirez.
Daniels.
Deputy
Daniels.
Okay, very good. Go bring him in.
All right, folks, we're all set.
All rise, jury entering.
Okay, good morning. Everyone have a seat. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. So I have been told, particularly by my children, that sometimes I could come across a little harsh, a little stern. And so I just want to discuss my previous admonition to you all about not to discuss the case. Obviously, you can't discuss the case. And I know during jury selection I went over with you the potential penalties, which could be severe if I did find out that you had talked about the case or communicated about the case. However, I don't want you all to have sleepless nights worrying about inadvertent disclosures. That's not the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. I'm talking about willful, intentional discussions with others about the substance of the case, willful and intentional inquiry about the case, willful and intentional watching the news to gain more knowledge outside of the courtroom. That's what I was referring to when I said there would be or could be significant repercussions. Inadvertent things like saying I've got jury duty, or saying things if someone asks me or asking you, were you on the 150-person panel, and you saying yes, that's not the kind of thing that we're talking about that's going to land you in any trouble whatsoever. So please, 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 don't worry about that. And I do really appreciate the conscientiousness that you all have shown about the instructions I have given you. All right, so with that, over the weekend, did anybody watch, listen to, read any news accounts related to this case? Did you discuss the facts of this case at all with anybody? Or did you do any independent research on your own about the case?
No.
Okay, very good. With that, we're ready to proceed. State, call your next witness.
State calls Deputy Daniels Tolbert.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this cause is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes, ma'am.
And if you step up this way, please, and have a seat, let me just stand.
You may proceed.
Good morning, Deputy.
Good morning.
Can you please introduce yourself to the jury?
My name is Dominique Daniels, and I'm a corporal with the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office.
And you're a little bit soft-spoken, so make sure that you speak into the mic and that I and the jury can hear you.
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you been employed with the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office?
Since October 2011.
And what are your duties as a corporal with the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office?
I'm a first-line supervisor, so I have a squad of approximately 10 deputies. I review the reports, criminal report affidavits, time cards, and inspections.
And are those patrol deputies that you're supervising?
Yes, ma'am.
Back in May of 2014, was that your same assignment as a corporal?
No, ma'am, I was a deputy.
A patrol deputy?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Were you working on May 16th of 2014?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recall someone getting your attention on that evening while you were out on patrol?
Yes, ma'am, I was waved down by Felicia Demerson.
Where were you at when that happened?
I was at the intersection of Bullard Parkway and 56th Street North.
Is that located in Tampa or in Temple Terrace?
Temple Terrace?
Were you actually patrolling the street at that time?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you recall approximately what time she flagged you down?
It was around 10 p.m. at night.
Did you know her to be Felicia Demerson at the time she was flagging you down, or did you learn that later when you spoke with her?
I didn't know who she was. I learned that later after speaking with her.
After you saw this female flagging you down, what did you do?
I was waiting at the red light at Bullard Parkway and 56th Street North, and she was coming eastbound, and she just said, "Hey, can you help me?" So I just told her to pull over in the Burger King parking lot, and I met her there.
When you arrived at the Burger King parking lot, was that just you and Miss Demerson there?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you do at that time?
I spoke with her. She told me her 9-year-old daughter, Felicia Williams, was missing.
What was her demeanor when you initially met with her?
She was crying. She was angry, at times a little frantic.
At that time, do you begin a missing persons report, or what do you do?
Yes, ma'am. I was gathering the initial details of the case to see, where it actually occurred and what happened.
Was she, in fact, the person that had last seen her daughter or knew where her daughter was, or was that somebody else?
No, ma'am. She advised me the godmother, Ebony Wiley, was the last person that saw her daughter.
Did Ebony Wiley ever arrive on scene at that Burger King parking lot?
Yes, ma'am. While talking to Ms. Demerson, I asked her if she would call Ms. Wiley to the scene so I could talk with her.
And did Miss Wiley come to the scene?
Yes, ma'am, she did.
Did you interview her?
I did, briefly.
Do you recall if she arrived there with anyone else?
She came with an unknown black male.
Okay. Do you recall if you ever actually spoke to him or got his name?
No, ma'am, I didn't.
Were you ever alerted that he actually had information with regards to this investigation?
No, ma'am.
What was the demeanor of Miss Wiley upon her arrival and upon you speaking with her?
Her demeanor was, it was opposite of the family. She was fine. She seemed somewhat out of it and zoned out, but she wasn't crying and angry like the family was.
Okay. But she seemed out of it and zoned out?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What did you do? What was the next thing you did after you spoke to Miss Demerson and Miss Wiley?
Miss Wiley couldn't recall the exact address where she last saw Felicia Williams, so I asked her if she would go get that address, and she went and got it for me.
Approximately how long was she gone?
No more than 5 minutes.
Did she come back and provide you with an address?
Yes, ma'am.
And what was the address she provided you with?
8910 Tanglewood Place, apartment 721 in Temple Terrace, Florida.
Is that also located within Hillsborough County?
Yes, ma'am.
How is it that Temple Terrace is located within Hillsborough County, but then there's also the Temple Terrace Police Department? How is that jurisdictional-wise work with your duties as well as theirs?
Right, well, I work for the county, so we have unincorporated Hillsborough County. So there's parts of Temple Terrace and Tampa where they have their own jurisdiction and police. But my zone, where I worked at the time, you had to drive through Temple Terrace. So they were kind of intertwined, but they still had their own jurisdiction in the area.
Were you familiar with that apartment complex? Did you know where it was?
I'd heard of it, but I never went in there for calls because it's Temple Terrace's jurisdiction.
Okay. How far is that apartment complex from the Burger King parking lot?
Less than half a mile.
Once you learned that the home or the address that Ms. Wiley had provided you was within Temple Terrace, what did you then do?
I relayed that information to our Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office dispatch and asked them to put a call into Temple Terrace so they could respond to the Burger King.
And is that so they could then take over the investigation, since we believe that the missing child investigation would have originated out of Temple Terrace?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Did an officer with Temple Terrace Police Department respond?
Yes, ma'am, Officer Ramirez.
Did you meet with him?
I did, when he responded on scene.
Did you relay the information that you had learned from Ms. Demerson and Ms. Wiley to him?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you remain on scene and assist with that investigation, or did you go on your way?
After I relayed the information to him, I told him I would just circulate the area. So I drove around from Bush Boulevard to Hillsborough Avenue down 56th Street, and then I went from 56th Street down to 30th off of Hillsborough and circulated the area.
Did you know who you were looking for?
I seen a picture of her and had a general idea, but I had never met her before. No, ma'am.
Who had provided you the picture?
Ms. Demerson had a picture when I met with her at the Burger King.
Were you ever able to locate Felicia Williams?
No, ma'am.
May I have a moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
Deputy Daniels, I'm sorry, can you state again, where is it that you traveled looking for her? You said 56 to Hillsborough?
Yes, ma'am. So Bush Boulevard, up and down 56th Street to Hillsborough Avenue, and then Hillsborough on 56 westbound to Hillsborough on 30th.
And is that like a grid that you circulated? Like, how far did that search span? Do you know how many miles?
No, ma'am. I just kind of stayed in the area of Temple Terrace because that's the last place they thought they were. And I believe at the time Ms. Demerson lived in the area of Hillsborough on 30th. So that's why I went from 56th Street to 30th and just looked around that area.
Okay. The state would pass the witness, Judge.
Okay, Cross.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
The area that you spent some time looking for Felicia Williams in was an area between where you had been informed by Ebony Wiley that she had last seen Felicia Williams, right?
Yes, sir. She had last seen her in the apartment, but
Right.
I just drove around Temple
Sure.
Terrace.
So between that area and where you understood that Felicia Williams' home was, you basically searched back and forth in that area?
Yes, sir. The main highways.
Okay. And you did that based on the story that Ebony Wiley had told you, and primarily as to the location of Felicia Williams?
Correct.
Okay. And Ebony Wiley told you when you first met with her that Felicia Williams had walked out of the apartment.
What's the hearsay exception?
Can we approach you on it?
Yeah.
Okay. I have no other questions.
All right, any redirect?
No, Judge.
Okay, may this witness be excused subject to being recalled?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, so you are excused for today, but you still are under subpoena, and if
Okay.
either side wishes to recall you, you will need to come back.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Okay, who's your next witness?
The state next calls Officer Martin Ramirez.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give in this cause is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes. Okay, this way, sir. Watch your stuff going on.
Very good, you may proceed.
Good morning, officer. Can you please introduce yourself to the jury?
Officer Martin Ramirez
And how are you currently employed?
with Tampa Police Department.
With the Tampa Police Department?
Correct.
And how long have you been employed with the Tampa Police Department?
About a year and a half.
What are your current duties with Tampa Police Department?
I work in patrol.
And as a patrol officer, what are your duties with that?
Respond to calls, traffic crashes, take reports.
Back in May of 2014, were you employed with the Tampa Police Department?
No.
Who were you employed with?
Temple Terrace Police Department.
And how long were you employed with them?
5 years.
What were your duties with the Temple Terrace Police Department?
Worked in patrol.
Same duties as you have now?
Correct.
Were you working back on May 16th of 2014?
Yes.
Did you become involved in a missing child investigation involving a Felicia Williams?
Yes.
How is it that you initially became involved in that investigation?
I responded to the intersection of 56 and Bush, reference to a missing persons report.
I just need you to speak up because I can barely hear you.
I'm sorry. I was dispatched to the intersection of 56 and Bush, reference a missing persons report.
And is that located within Temple Terrace, within your jurisdiction when you worked for them?
Yes.
Officer, I'm going to show you what's been pre-marked as State's Exhibit BB for identification purposes. Do you recognize this map?
Yes.
Okay. And does it fairly and accurately represent the area in which you initially responded to on May 16th of 2014?
Yes.
State offers an evidence State's Exhibit BB.
Any objection?
No objection.
Admitted?
Permission to publish, Judge.
Yes. And again, make sure you're seated where you can see, so if you need to move, then please move.
Officer, I'm going to direct your attention to the screen behind you. This road that runs towards the top half that runs basically what appears to be, if you were looking at it from east to west, is that Bullard Parkway?
Yes.
And then towards the left side of the photograph, a street that runs north and south, is that North 56th Street?
Yes.
Okay. Can you point to the area where the Burger King parking lot was that you originally responded to on that night?
It's on the southeast corner of the intersection.
Is that location right here where I'm pointing
Yes.
towards the center left of the photograph?
Yes.
Okay. Now on this map, was that an open Burger King at the time or was it closed? Do you recall?
It was open, I believe so.
It was open, okay. There's a Burger King that is marked down towards the bottom center of the picture. Was that actually a Burger King that was open back in May of 2014 or has it since opened?
That did not exist at that time.
Okay. So just so we're clear on this map, it is the building that's on the corner of Bullard Parkway and North 56th Street where you in fact responded to take or begin that investigation. Is that correct?
Correct.
And across the Bullard Parkway from that Burger King parking lot, was there a CVS located there at the time?
Yes.
Okay. When you responded out to that Burger King parking lot, what is it that you initially did when you got there?
I made contact with Officer Daniels.
And was Officer Daniels or Deputy Daniels employed with the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office?
Yes.
Did you speak with her?
Yes.
Did you gather information from her about the investigation that she had already conducted or the interviews that she had already conducted?
Yes.
Did you then go about conducting your own interviews?
Yes.
Who did you speak to when you were there?
Felicia Dimison.
And was that the mother or the person that identified herself as the mother of the missing child?
Yes.
Who else, if anyone, did you speak with?
Ebony Wiley.
What was Miss Demerson's demeanor when you met with her and spoke with her?
She was worried, upset.
Did she show you a photograph of her daughter so you knew who you would be looking for?
Yes.
Did you also speak with Miss Wiley
Yes.
and conduct an interview of her? Do you recall a description at all, or I'm sorry, do you recall the demeanor at all of her?
She was calm.
Were you provided a description in addition to the photograph of Miss Williams?
Yes.
What was the description that you were provided of?
She's about 4 feet 5 inches in height, but approximately 100 pounds. She was last wearing pants, black shirt with green stripes, and black shoes, I believe so.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Black shoes.
Okay. So you said she was last seen wearing pants. Was it specified what kind of pants she was wearing that you recall?
I believe it was jeans.
You stated a black shirt with green stripes
Correct.
and black shoes.
Correct.
Were you provided approximate weight?
I believe 100 pounds,
And what race was she?
black female.
Were you provided with a nickname for her?
Yes,
What was that?
sugar plum.
Were you provided any description all with regards to her hair? Anything else about her body?
I believe ponytails.
Did Ebony Wiley remain on scene the entire time that you were there, or did she leave the scene at some point?
She remained on scene.
Were you aware of whether or not she had already provided an address of the last seen location or the last known location she had seen the victim?
Yes.
What did you do with that address, if anything, or that information?
I provided to responding officers
And what was the point of that?
so they can go search the last location where she was known to be.
Did you also provide them with a description,
Yes,
the description you had been provided?
yes.
What about the photograph? Did you distribute that at all out to the other officers?
I don't recall.
Did anybody ever locate Felicia Williams after that description that you provided out that night?
No.
What, if anything else, did you do?
I conducted interviews, then I put a bolo out.
When you say you put a bolo out, what's a bolo?
Be on the lookout. It's an acronym. And put that over dispatch, and dispatch distribute that to surrounding agencies.
What information is contained in a bolo?
Name, date of birth, description,
And who is that distributed to?
the surrounding agencies.
So not just Temple Terrace Police Department, but Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office as well as Tampa Police Department?
Correct.
As far as you were aware, were numerous other Temple Terrace Police Department officers looking for the missing child?
Yes.
What did you do anything else at that time?
Detective Elmer responded also to the scene. He was contacted, and he was relayed this information.
Is that standard operating procedure in these kinds of investigations to then have a senior detective or a senior officer come to the scene to assist?
Yes.
Did you relay information to him that you had learned through your investigation thus far?
Yes.
Did you go about searching for Felicia Williams at all?
No.
Do you recall how long you remained on shift, or your shift was on that evening?
12 hours.
And so what time was your shift over? Do you recall?
Leave at 6 a.m.
Did that conclude your duties with regards to this investigation?
Yes.
May I have a moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
State will pass the witness, Judge.
Cross.
Good morning.
Morning.
The first contact with Ebony Wiley was through Officer Dominique Daniels-Tolber, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Do you know whether or not Ebony Wiley had provided a statement to her before you arrived?
No.
You don't know?
I'm sorry?
You don't know?
Can you repeat the question?
Do you know whether or not Ebony Wiley had provided a statement, a verbal statement, to Officer Dominique Daniels-Tolber prior to your arrival?
No.
Okay. So when you spoke with Ebony Wiley, was Officer Dominique Daniels-Tolber present?
I don't recall.
Okay. Do you recall whether or not you were both questioning her?
No.
Do you recall whether or not you, we already indicated you don't know whether or not you were both there when you were speaking with Ebony Wiley, is that correct?
I'm sorry. She was not present.
She was not present, okay.
Correct, yeah.
And you arrived, and when you said she was not present, you were speaking about Officer Dominique Daniels-Tolber, is that correct?
Correct.
All right. So her contact with Ebony Wiley was prior to your contact with her?
Correct.
Okay. Now, you spoke with Ebony Wiley in the parking lot of a Burger King, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Who else was present?
Felicia Dimerson.
Okay. Anyone else?
There was other subjects there, but that I did not talk to.
Okay. Did Ebony Wiley appear to be cooperating with you and providing you information.
Yes.
Do you know whether or not, in fact, Officer Dominique Daniels-Tolber was acting upon information that she had received prior to your arrival?
No.
Okay. Did you contact Officer Daniel Tolber after you spoke with Ebony Wiley to sort of corroborate to find out whether or not the information Ebony Wiley told you was the same as what she told Daniels Tolber?
No.
Okay. Was it your belief that you were receiving truthful information from Ebony Wiley?
At the time, yes.
Okay, she appeared to be cooperative, right?
Yes.
You didn't threaten her or intimidate her in any way?
No.
Okay. And in fact, Ebony Wiley told you where she had last seen Felicia Williams. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Can we approach briefly, Johan?
Yes.
You spoke with Ebony Wiley approximately 10:30 in the evening on May 16, 2014. Is that accurate?
Yes.
And when you spoke with Ebony Wiley at that time in the parking lot of the Burger King restaurant, she told you that she had been with Felicia Williams.
Yes.
By herself in a friend's apartment.
Yes.
And that she had left Felicia Williams in the living room watching a movie.
Yes.
And that she went to take a shower.
Yes.
And that when she came back from taking a shower, Felicia Williams was gone.
Yes.
And that she assumed that she had left the apartment and walked away.
Yes.
Thank you, that's all.
Okay, redirect.
Officer Ramirez, when you spoke to Miss Wiley and she had told you that she had gone in to take a shower and that when she had come back out that Felicia Williams was gone, had she told you that she was at a female's house?
Yes.
She was showering at a female's house?
Yes.
Okay, did she provide you a name at all?
Vivian.
Any other last name with that?
I don't recall.
Nothing further, Judge.
Okay, may this witness be excused, subject to being recalled?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. You're excused, subject to being recalled. Are you good today?
Thank you.
Okay, state who's your next witness?
State calls Tom Carroll.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this cause is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. And sir, if you'd step around this way, have a seat in the witness stand.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you please state your name and spell your last name at least?
My name is Thomas Carroll, and the last name is spelled Carroll.
Okay. And Mr. Carroll, can you tell the jurors what you do for a living?
Presently, I'm retired.
Okay. And what are you retired from?
I am retired from the City of Temple Terrace Police Department.
Can everyone hear the witness? And how long did you work for the City of Temple Terrace Police Department?
I was hired in November of 1994, and I retired August 16th of 2018.
Okay, so what, is that?
24 years.
24 years,
Yes,
okay.
sir.
And prior to working for the City of Temple Terrace Police Department, did you have prior law enforcement experience?
Yes, I did.
Can you tell the jurors about that?
In July of 1973, I entered as a patrolman with the City of Schenectady, New York. I retired as a lieutenant with that police department in December of 1993.
So another 20 years.
Yes, sir.
So a total of 44 years in law enforcement?
Correct.
When you were working for the City of Temple Terrace's Police Department, were you a sworn certified law enforcement officer by standards set by the state of Florida?
Yes, I was.
And if I call you detective, I'll try to rephrase, I'll try not to do that, Mr. Carroll. I'll try to call you detective.
Detective is fine.
Detective.
Doesn't matter.
Okay. I'm going to call your attention back to May of 2014, where you employed at that time by the City of Temple Terrace's Police Department.
Yes, I was.
On May 17th of 2014, did you receive a phone call in the early morning hours at your residence?
Yes, I did.
And was that from someone else at the police department in Temple Terrace?
Yes, sir.
And was that a supervisor?
Yes, sir.
All right. And were you asked to respond to the Temple Terrace Police Department?
Yes, I was.
And going forward, throughout that day, did you become involved in the investigation initially of a missing person, Felicia Williams?
Yes, I did.
Later, did you become the actual assigned case detective in the investigation of the homicide of Felicia Williams?
Yes, I was.
Late in the evening of 2000 and late in the evening of of May 17th, 2014, this would be the day after Felicia went missing, was a search warrant prepared for a residence in the Doral Oaks Apartments complex?
Yes, it was.
And what was the residential address?
It was, I believe it was 7910 Tanglewood Place, apartment 721.
Okay.
I'm not sure of the first numerical I gave you.
Could it have been 8910
Yes, that's,
Tanglewood Place
That's
or
correct.
Lane, and then apartment 721?
that's correct.
Okay. And were you involved in the execution of the search warrant on the actual apartment?
Yes, I was.
And did that occur sometime just after midnight going into the very early morning hours of May 18th, 2014, which would have been a Sunday?
Yes, it started at 12:45 a.m.
Okay. And was there another officer involved with this execution or this search of the apartment?
Yes, the supervisor of my detective division, Sergeant Lowell,
Okay.
was with me at that time.
Mike Lowell?
Yes, sir.
And is he now a captain with the Temple Terrace Police Department?
Yes, sir.
And when you entered the residence and you began to search it, did you in fact take photographs while you were inside the residence?
Yes, I did.
And did you, after the search was completed, did you then download those photographs and have they been actually printed out?
Yes, sir.
And have you had an opportunity to view some of those photographs today?
Yes, I have.
Chance to review these just right before you took the stand this morning?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and you've previously seen these in both digital and printed copies of these?
Yes, I have.
All right. And are those photographs that you took in the early morning hours of May 18th of 2014 at the apartment 721 and 8910 Tanglewood Lane?
Yes, they are.
All right. And do the photographs accurately depict the condition of the apartment when you and at the time Sergeant Lowell entered the apartment and conducted your search?
Yes, they do.
Okay. Your Honor, I would tender states C85 through 113 and 115 through 133.
Idiot. Okay, very good. There's that.
Moving to publish, Your Honor, and I am publishing C1. And Detective, that's just the front door of the apartment with the apartment number?
That is correct.
State C86, publishing. Detective, this photograph, we can see the door on the right-hand side of the photograph, and looking forward, it appears there's a hallway directly in front of the door, and then a passageway to the left that leads into what appears to be a kitchen to the left of the photograph over here where I'm circling with my finger. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
In the area right here on this corner beam of this wall, was there something that you noticed as you searched the residence that appeared to be present on the floor in front of that corner beam?
Yes, there were some particles on the floor, white particles on the floor that I noticed.
Okay. And we'll come back to that. But going down that same hallway, C87, it appears to be a hallway that has some closets on the left-hand side. Is that right?
Like a little storage area with bifold doors
Okay.
on the
And
left.
if you follow the hallway straight through, does that take you into the living room area of the apartment?
Yes, it does.
At the end of the wooded, it looks like wood flooring there. Let's see if I can adjust this. In this area here, we see a threshold across the front of this wooded area. Is that carpeting and a change in the type of flooring?
Yes, it is.
Just before that, there appears to be an entrance here to another hallway or to a room.
Yes.
What is off of that hallway or entrance?
If you made a right at that location right there, and another immediate right would lead to a second bedroom in the apartment, and an immediate left would put you into a bathroom.
C88, turning to the left after you enter the residence, you actually enter into a little small kitchenette dining area and then into the kitchen.
Yes, sir.
C89, is that the kitchenette area or dining area?
Yes, it is.
So this window would be facing back out of the front of the apartment, back onto the balcony?
Yes, sir.
What floor was the apartment on?
The second floor.
C90, is this just a photograph looking through the kitchen?
Yes, it is.
And the kitchen has some type of a flooring that appears to be either wood or fake wood of some type, or maybe laminate?
Yes.
And then there's the carpeted living room area, is that right?
Yes, sir.
State C92. Yeah. Turn on. In this photograph, we see a carpeted area. Is that the living area?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And is there a sectional couch to the right-hand side of the photograph?
Yes, there is.
Is there something in front of the couch on the floor?
A rug?
And looking directly across that room, there appears to be some vertical blinds.
Yes.
Are those sliding glass doors?
Yes, they are.
And what's on the other side of the sliding glass doors?
Patio, rear patio.
Now, in this living area, we see the sectional couch to the right. Can you tell us what's on the left-hand side, what furniture is on the left-hand side of the photograph?
That's a little TV stand, stereo stand type of thing, and there's another small table down in the corner by the patio.
Okay. When you and Sergeant Lowell went into that area of the residence, did you note something in the carpet that drew your attention in this photo, that's shown in this photograph?
Well, we both noticed that there were drag marks of something looked to be dragged from the patio area back in through the kitchen.
All right. And would those drag marks be in the area, let me point with my finger, in these areas here?
Yes, sir.
So across basically, for the record, the middle of the photograph, going from the bottom, towards the top of the photograph, towards the bottom of the photograph. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. Now, going back to that first photo we saw coming in from the front door, you said there was a corner beam there, where to the right is the hallway leading to the bedroom and the bathroom, and then to the left leading to the kitchen.
Correct.
So I'm going to show you a close-up of that corner beam, state C94. First of all, did you notice any damage to the corner beam?
Yes, I did.
All right, can you, if you could, just stand up and point to it and show us?
It'd be right here.
And did you notice some kind of a scuff mark on the wall near that?
Over here.
All right.
And up and through here.
Okay. And if you could just remain standing for 1 second. State C95 on publishing. The particles you saw on the floor, did you see them?
Yes, I did.
And can you just, if you could, generally point to them? I know there's several pieces.
Oh, they're kind of all over.
All right. Did that appear to be fresh to you, something that had been there a while, or been there recently?
Yes.
Okay. And what was that based on?
Just based on everything else, looked pretty clean, and they just were there, and even the paint chips coming off of the corner looked like they were fairly fresh. There was little pieces even still hanging on.
Okay. State C96. Now, in this photograph, again, do we see those, what appear to be drag marks across the living room carpeting?
Yes, sir.
And did they appear to continue into the flooring of the kitchen in some way?
They don't show a lot there, but yes, they were pretty distinct.
And once the marks came onto the wood or the laminate of the kitchen floor, how were they represented, those marks that ran consistent? Was it the same thing where something's moved on that, or is it leaving some kind of material on the wood floor?
Actually left like a scuff mark, a black scuff mark from both sides.
And these photographs are kind of hard to see, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
But we can still see the drag marks in the carpet?
Yes.
States C98. Is that the couch in the living room?
Yes, sir.
All right. State C99. What's depicted in that photograph?
The TV stand directly across from the circular couch, and a CD, a couple of CDs.
All right. Did there appear to be a CD or DVD in the DVD player below the TV?
Yes.
State C100. Is that shown in this photograph, that CD?
Yes, it is.
And does it have some kind of writing on it?
Yes, it does.
What's written on it?
The address.
Is that the word mixtape below that?
Looks like it, yes, and then Chronics on the bottom.
State C101. Is that just another photograph of that area?
Yes, sir.
States 301. Is that an area in front of the couch on the floor?
Yes, it is.
That's just, looks like an ashtray with some cigarette butts in it?
Yes, sir.
And a bottle of water?
Yes, sir.
States CO4, were there some items on the couch?
Yes.
And what were they?
It looked like a TV remote, maybe the DVD remote. Looks like a package of maybe blunts, cigars, and whatever was 1 1/4.
See if we turn that around. Does that say cigarette paper on it?
Yes, it does.
State C-105, off to the, as you enter and walk past the sectional with the TV on your left, if you're heading towards the patio, if you were to go past the couch and turn to the right, was there a doorway that led to another room?
Yes, there was.
And what room was that, or what did that appear to be?
The master bedroom?
States 105, C-105.
That
Was
was-
there another piece of furniture in that room?
Yes, sir, bed.
C-106, just a more closer photograph?
Correct.
Okay. Now, in that room, did that appear to be what would be considered the master bedroom?
Yes, it would have had an attached bathroom to it.
C-107, is that a doorway leading from that bedroom into an attached bathroom?
Yes, sir.
State C-108?
Still the same bathroom?
All right. So, as you go through this door here, and to your left, would there be a sink or vanity there with some sinks in it?
Yes.
And if you continue into the second door, there appears to be a commode or a toilet there in the room?
Yes.
All right. And was there also a shower in that bathroom?
Yes, there was.
And when you were searching the residence and you went into the shower, was there something unique in the bottom of the shower?
Yes, there were two tall candles, about 2-inch diameter, but tall, both of them lit.
Okay. Did they appear to be some type of religious candles?
That's what it appeared to be to me.
Okay. Did you take it upon yourself to check the condition of the floor of that shower and the walls of the shower?
Yes, I did. That complete area was dry.
The area was dry.
Yes.
And was there, well, let's take a look at States C-110. What does this photograph show?
The two candles that I previously mentioned.
So it looks as if they're sitting on maybe a plate in the bottom of the shower?
Yes.
State C-112, was there some item on the counter of the vanity in that bathroom?
Yes, there was.
And what was that?
Looked like a woman's purse.
State C-113, is that just a photo of the medicine cabinet on the wall in that bathroom?
Yes, sir.
And was there a closet in that bedroom?
Yes, there was.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as State C-109. Is that a photograph of that closet?
Yes, sir.
Now, we see clothing, obviously, in that photograph. Can you tell us what type of clothing, as far as gender or what gender did they appear to be for?
Most of it appeared to be women's clothing.
Going back to the hallway coming into the residence and the kitchen area, State C-115, was this some type of either a towel closet or some type of a little closet?
Yes, there was.
Would that be in the hallway if you came through the front door and went straight down the hallway that leads to the guest bedroom?
Yes.
On your left?
Yes.
Okay. Because the reason I ask is in that photograph we saw some folding doors. Is this one of the folding doors we saw?
Yes, it is.
And what are these items that are in that closet?
Clothing type items, a blanket.
And that's the way you found them when you came into the apartment?
Yes, it is.
Going into the kitchen, State C-116, what does this photograph show?
That shows a scale and a bowl with what appeared to me to be at the time marijuana seeds, and a small baggie containing what I believed to be marijuana at the time.
State C-117. Is this a photograph of another closet in the residence?
Yes, it is.
You know where that closet was located?
I honestly can't say based on the picture right now.
Okay. Is it possible that was near the guest bathroom?
It's possible.
All right. State C-118, and in that closet, it looks as if there were some cleaning products, maybe? A bottle of bleach, possibly?
Yes.
And then maybe some detergent?
Yes, sir.
So maybe laundry products?
Yes.
State C-118. What does this photograph show?
That was the second bathroom in the residence.
Okay. So there appears to be a tub in this bathroom, is that right?
Yes, there was.
Okay. And again, did you check the condition of the tub and the walls of that shower and tub?
Yes, I did. They were all dry also at the time.
State C-119. Is this a photo of the medicine cabinet of that bathroom?
Yes, it is.
Now, going into the guest bedroom, was there any furniture in the guest bedroom?
No.
What did you find in the guest bedroom?
I immediately noticed piles of clothing just laying on the floor on top of a suitcase, and there was another suitcase off to the side. It's pretty much all I saw in that room.
States 120, this photograph, is that a photograph of the guest bedroom?
Yes, it is.
And I know it came out a little bit blurry, but is there a suitcase that's shown in that photograph?
Yes, sir.
To the lower right-hand corner of the photograph?
Yes, sir.
There appears to be a pair of shoes near it,
Yes.
and then clothing.
Yes, sir.
State C-121, is that a close-up of that suitcase?
Yes, it is.
State C-123, is that the suitcase opened?
Yes, I opened it for that picture.
And the contents of the suitcase, do they appear to be pretty much gender specific?
Yes, it looked like all female items.
State C-124, were there other items other than clothing on the floor?
Yes, sir. Again, that appears to be the area I was saying that it looked like something was dumped on the floor from something.
So it appeared to you that these items may have been in another container and had been dumped?
So what it appeared to me, yes.
State C-125, in those contents, were there packages of condoms?
Yes, there were.
State C-126. In fact, does this appear to be an individual wrapped condom?
Yes, it does.
State C-128, what does this photograph show?
That was just a pile of clothes. Again, looked like it was just thrown there, not neatly.
And is this the same, or is this a different suitcase?
A different suitcase.
So there was two suitcases in the room.
Yes.
State C-129. And what is shown in this photograph?
Again, just more clothing on the floor of that bedroom.
Okay. Did it appear that some of the clothing had been folded?
At one point, yes.
Was there a closet attached to this bedroom?
Yes, there was.
State C-130. Is that a photo as you enter the closet of the right-hand hanger in the closet?
Yes, sir, it is.
And were there clothes hanging on the hanging rod?
Yes.
Were there items on a shelf above that?
Yes, there were.
And as far as those hanging clothes, did they appear to be men's or women's clothing?
Most of them appeared to be men's clothing.
State C-131 on the other side of the closet, did there appear to be hanging clothes on the hanging rod?
Yes, sir.
And above that on the shelf were there numerous pairs of shoes?
Yes, sir.
Let's start with the shoes. Do those appear to be ladies' shoes?
Yes, they did.
And below that, the items hanging from the hanging rod, do you recall if they were women's, men's, or a combination?
Mostly women's.
And were there pairs of shoes on the floor of the closet? I'm going to show you state C-132.
Yes.
And were there numerous pairs of shoes that appeared to be men's shoes?
Yes, there were.
Then state C-133. Can you tell us what that is?
I believe it was like a cell phone charger or some type of a charger port. It was just kind of hanging there from that outlet, which would have been on the wall if you walked in from the front door of the apartment, just before the couch on the right.
State C-87. C is in Charlie. So this is looking in through the front door, is it not, Detective?
Yep.
Mr. Carroll?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And if we proceed into the living area, we see an outlet down here. I know it's kind of blurry. Is this where that charger was, where my finger is?
Yes, it is.
So it would be just on the side of the couch?
That's correct.
A couple of days after this search, did personnel from the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office crime scene section come out to the apartment with officers from the Temple Terrace Police Department?
Yes, they did.
And did they execute a second search warrant of that residence?
Yes, sir, they did.
And while that search warrant was being executed and they were searching the residence, did you travel to the residence, the 721 residence on Tanglewood Lane?
Yes, I did.
And did you enter the residence during that time?
Yes, I did.
Did you observe the processing of the scene
Yes.
and the appearance of the apartment on that at that time?
Yes.
And was that in the daytime
Yes, it was.
versus when you went in the middle of the night?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as state C1 through C84. I just ask, have you previously seen these photographs?
Yes, I have.
All right. And do these photographs depict the condition of the apartment when that second search warrant was being executed on the apartment?
Yes, sir.
Do they accurately depict the condition of the apartment during that time period?
Yes, they do.
Your Honor, I would tender states C1 through C84.
Any objection?
No objection.
It's admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm not going to go through all of these. I'm just going to ask you about a few of them, okay?
Yes.
All right, state C2. Can you tell us just real quick what that shows?
That's the outside of the residence. The apartment would be on the second floor.
All right. So this is showing us, though, that the address of 8910, building 7, it looks like. Is that right?
Yes.
Stage C5. What does this photograph show?
It shows the patio and a door of an apartment.
And that's showing an apartment door on the second floor, is that correct?
That is correct.
States, excuse me, stage C14. Is that a photo of the kitchen looking back from the living area towards the front of the apartment?
Yes, it is.
And up here on the right-hand side, does there appear to be a bottle of some type of liquor?
Yes, sir, as I recall, that was Hennessy's.
State C15, excuse me.
Yes, that's it.
And it is Hennessy?
Yes, sir.
In addition to the drag marks and the marks that you saw on the kitchen flooring, that appeared to run consistent with those drag marks in the carpeting, when you were there in the early morning of the 18th, did you go onto the patio of the apartment?
Yes, we did.
Was there an outside patio through those sliding doors there in the living room?
Yes, there was.
State C24, and this is again from a couple days later during the search warrant, the sheriff's office processing. Does that appear to be the same patio?
Yes,
Okay, and the same condition as when you were there?
exactly.
On the patio to the left here, there appears to be a door handle and a door. What does that lead to?
Storage area.
State C32. And is that a photograph of the door opened showing the inside of that storage area?
Yes, it is.
And did you examine that storage area in the early morning hours of the 18th when you conducted the initial search?
Yes.
And what type of items were in that storage area?
Like some shoes, some plastic bags with stuff in them, some clothing.
C25. Were there also scuff marks on the floor of the patio that were consistent with what you saw in the kitchen of the residence on the morning of the 18th?
Yes, sir.
Do you see them in this photograph?
Yes, I do.
Can you please point to them?
There are some here, and the circular one there, and some smaller ones going in all kinds of directions right here.
State C26. Are they shown in that photograph too?
Yes.
State C29. Can they be seen in this photograph?
Yes, they can.
And in this photograph towards the top left, towards the track of the sliding glass doors, was there an item located?
Yes.
What type of item was that?
It was a wheel, a little plastic wheel.
And on publishing stage C31 briefly. Stage C33. Is that a close-up of that wheel?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And stage C34, or closer view of the wheel.
Yes, sir.
And what did the wheel appear to be from?
Appears to be from a suitcase.
Was that wheel there that night when you came into the apartment in the early mornings of the 18th?
Yes, it was.
And so you had left it there?
Yes.
State C73. And what does this photograph depict?
That is the hallway leading from the carpeted section of the living room straight out through the front door.
All right. So this, where I'm pointing on the middle top of the photo, would be the front door?
Yes, sir.
And then this would be the balcony, the bars of the balcony in front of the front door?
Yes.
Okay. Were there marks on this hallway that I'm pointing to here, those dark marks, were those part of the scuff marks you were talking about earlier that you had seen?
Yes.
Right. So this is going to be on the opposite side from the kitchen, but on the same flooring, the same style of flooring, the laminate or wood?
Yes, sir.
And did there appear to be parallel marks?
Yes, at certain points.
State C68, going back to the area of the corner beam, did there appear to be a scuff mark in that area? I know it's kind of hard to see it in this photograph.
Yes, that's that curved scuff mark.
Can you please point to it and drag your finger, if you could, along its length? Okay. So along the bottom of the photograph as we're looking at it, kind of curving away from the bottom?
Well, it actually comes, you can see a little bit of it almost all the way.
State C69. Now we're looking from the opposite direction of the photograph we were looking at a minute ago, showing the same hallway that leads from the living room to the front door, is that correct?
Yes.
And we see the same scuff mark here where my finger's moving?
Yes, sir.
In the middle of the photograph?
Yes, sir.
Towards the bottom of the photograph, does there appear to be a scuff mark where I'm moving my finger?
Yes.
Okay. Can you just point to it and run your finger along its length? States C84. Well, I'll withdraw that question. This apartment and the entire complex, is it located within the city limits of Temple Terrace?
Yes, it is.
And is it located within Hillsborough County?
Yes, it is.
The address where the victim resided on Ida Street in the city of Tampa, is that located within Hillsborough County?
Yes, it is.
I'm going to show you States A first. Have you previously seen this?
Yes.
And is this a satellite image of an area containing the Doral Oaks apartments and the area surrounding it?
Yes, it is.
And does it appear to you to be an accurate representation of the area as it appeared, or as it would have appeared in 2014?
Yes, it does.
Your Honor, I tender States A.
Any objection? Any objection? Admitted.
States B. Again, is this a satellite image containing the area where the Doral Oaks Apartments is and sections of Temple Terrace and the city of Tampa?
Yes.
And does it also reflect a large portion of the Hillsborough County River?
Yes, it does.
All right. And does that appear to you to be an accurate representation of that area as it would have appeared in 2014?
Yes.
Your Honor, I tender states B.
Any objection?
No.
Admitted.
I'm going to show you states B-A. So B is in Bravo, A is in Alpha. Does this appear, Mr. Carroll, to be a satellite image that contains in it the area of Tanglewood Place and the Doral Oaks Apartments, a large section of the city of Tampa, a large portion of Tampa Bay and Old Tampa Bay, and including the Courtney Campbell Causeway?
Yes, it does.
Does it appear to reflect those areas and the roadways as they would have appeared in 2014?
Appear to, yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I tender states BA.
No objection.
Admitted.
States B-C, as in Charlie. Does this appear to be a satellite image of the Doral Oaks Apartments and a further expansive area around the Doral Oaks Apartments, south of Bullard Parkway, east of 56th Street, and also portions of the Hillsborough County River?
Yes, it does.
And does it appear that it reflects that area as it would have appeared in 2014?
Yes.
Your Honor, I tender states B-C.
No objection.
Admitted.
States B-D. Does this appear to be a satellite image that reflects the area where the Tanglewood Place address is and the Doral Oaks Apartments, a large section of Temple Terrace, a large section of the city of Tampa, and the Courtney Campbell Causeway, and portions of the Howard Franklin Bridge?
Yes.
And does it appear that it reflects those areas as they would have appeared in 2014?
Yes.
And does it also reflect the area where Felicia Williams' body was recovered?
Yes, it does.
Your Honor, I would tender states B-D, as in Delta.
Admitted.
Published states A. Detective, the address that you were discussing earlier that you and Sergeant Lowell searched pursuant to a search warrant, do you see that area and that address in this overhead satellite image?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and I'm going to zoom in. Is it reflected and labeled in this overhead image?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And I'm just going to point to it with my finger. Is it this area here?
Yes.
And is there an area just to the west of the apartment complex? And I'm going to circle it with my finger, the boundaries. So an area that's bounded by Bullard Parkway on the north and 56th Street on the west and Doral Oaks Apartments to the east.
Yes.
And what was that area? What is that area?
That is the City of Temple Terrace redevelopment area. A lot of those buildings were torn down several years ago with the plan to be redeveloped at a certain date.
So this is pretty much a flat, wide open area?
Yes, it is.
Are there roads that run into the area?
Yes, there are.
I'm going to run my finger down this. Is this a road or an access here for vehicles?
It's an access. It's not actually a named road.
And then to the south of that, is there a plaza containing a grocery store here in this area?
Yes, there is.
What grocery store is that?
Winn-Dixie?
Across the street from the Winn-Dixie, and it's labeled, is there a restaurant?
Yes.
And what restaurant is that?
That's Checkers. It's highlighted.
Okay. And again, this is going to be 56th Street?
Yes, sir.
And there are other businesses here on the west side of 56th Street?
Several, yes.
And then up here at the intersection of 56th, and this would be Bush on this side, is that correct?
Yes, sir. Bush on that side, Bullard Parkway on the other.
All right. So Bush becomes Bullard Parkway as it goes through the intersection, and you head east, is that correct?
Correct.
All right. So north of Bullard Parkway at this intersection, is there a pharmacy there?
Yes, there is.
Is that a CVS?
Yes, it is.
What is this establishment or building right here to the east of CVS?
That's the Temple Terrace Fire Department.
And is that 124 Bullard Parkway?
I believe so, yes.
Now, as far as exits and entrances to the Doral Oaks Apartments, are there exits here on the south side of the apartment complex?
Yes.
And what is this road here?
Sunnyside Road?
Okay, I'm going to publish states B as in Bravo dash B as in Bravo. And do you recognize this area as being the Doral Oaks Apartments?
Yes, I do.
And we see Tanglewood right here.
Yes, sir.
So you were pointing out Sunnyside. Is this Sunnyside right here?
Yes, it is.
Leads out of the apartment complex to the south?
Yes.
Does that connect, go down and connect to a major road?
It connects with River Hills.
River Hills?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And is there a way to access the apartment complex off of 56 coming on Chicago here?
Yes, there is. It would be Chicago to Springdale to Shadow Line.
And then we also see labeled in this video image that there is a post office here south of the Winn-Dixie.
Yes, sir.
States B-C, Charlie. Okay. If you could, Detective, could you show us where the Doral Oaks Apartments are in this photo? Okay. And this is the intersection we were talking about earlier, Bullard and Bush and 56th Street?
Yes, sir.
All right. So you were saying, as you come out of the south, out of the apartment complex, that Sunny, is it, I can't remember the name of it, is it
Well, Springdale.
Springdale?
Sunnyside is here, Springdale is down here.
Okay.
That's when it intersects with Chicago, behind the post office.
You were saying that Sunnyside intersects with River Hills Drive. Do you see that?
Yeah, it would be way over here.
Okay. Can you?
Springdale intersects with South River Hills at this point.
So River Hills would be this area here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And down here by the hill, is this the Hillsborough River, this blue here?
Yes, it is.
Right. Is there a park here in this area?
Yes, Riverside Park.
And near
Riverside Park, sorry.
Riverside Park, and near the apartment complex, and also near this Riverside Park, are there retention ponds?
Yes, there are.
Your Honor, I'll tend to the witness.
Okay, cross.
No question.
Okay, may this witness be excused, subject to recall?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Ladies and gentlemen, jury, we're just gonna take a quick 5-minute comfort break. I do have a meeting at noon, so we are gonna break for lunch at noon, but let's go ahead, we haven't had a break yet this morning, so we'll take a quick one, okay? All right, be back shortly.
All right, security exiting. Go ahead, you know.